Hello there guys, what is going on? Daniel Charles back here again. Hope you're doing really well on this Thursday. Slightly different setup if you're watching on YouTube today. Got some issues with my current camera and setup, but that will be fixed very soon. But I obviously had to jump on today to speak about some of the news. It has been insane the first week of the transfer window. I mean, I kind of hope for my own sanity that it doesn't continue like this because yeah, it's just been non-stop rumours, non-stop links. And the good thing is we've got an official signing. Obviously, Liam Delap finally being announced at the inconvenient time, I think of around 8 or 9 o'clock last night UK time. But we've got some quotes, and we've also now got confirmation of his shirt number and the confirmation of another shirt number change for Cole Palmer. So we're going to speak about that. Mike Maignan, Kudus as well from West Ham being linked. So tons of stuff going on. I do kind of ponder if this is because of the Club World Cup. You know, Chelsea obviously are going to be putting a lot of attention into that. And in some ways, it's a little bit like when you have an international tournament that a lot of business either needs to get done pre that international tournament, or then once you get into that international tournament, it becomes a little bit troublesome if you've got players in them. So maybe that's the reason why, but yeah, we've got a lot going on here, so we've got a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover, and all of that good stuff. So please like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, listening to the podcast. Please do give us a positive rating review, really helps the show out. So I think the best place to start is the latest about Mike Maignan. That's kind of the big news at the moment, is whether Chelsea are going to be able to get this deal over the line, because the last time I made a show in terms of like reacting to news, felt very positive about Mike Maignan, that Chelsea was seriously going in for this keeper and that a potential of a move was there to happen. The player side was very positive. The player side seemingly has only got more positive from a Chelsea point of view since. But obviously in the last 24, 48 hours, the negotiation side is slightly altered. We heard early on that Chelsea were only willing to offer like 10 million for Mike Maignan, which, just on this negotiating point, I don't think people are reacting negatively to Chelsea negotiating for a transfer. These happen in every single deal. I think it's the combination of the fact that these things seem to happen in public so often now. So obviously you kind of get these up-to-date rumours and you know, transfer updates in terms of negotiations that probably would happen behind closed doors, and we wouldn't know much about it. But then also it's because of the track record of the sporting directors. Like this time last year, the Michael Elise deal fell through when it looked like Chelsea, in 2 summers in a row, were near to sign that player, a very good player, and it fell through. The Osimhen deal. And kind of until Chelsea are able to sign under these sporting directors a player of Magnan's calibre, especially his age, I think there will be those doubts compared to the deals that they have kind of been used to getting done so far as sporting directors. So I think that's why. But in the last few hours, especially this morning, reports coming out that not only does Mike Maignan want to join Chelsea, but at least it feels like maybe there will be a compromise. And I think there will be a compromise just based on my experience, you know, looking at transfers and how they work out. So L'Equipe, this is from France Football News, but this is from L'Equipe, that it's believed that Maignan wants to join Chelsea and believes that, you know, a move can happen this summer. Chelsea would like to get the move happen before the move done before the Club World Cup, which is understandable. Patty Altman, who I suggest you go and follow, has been reporting a lot this summer already. Says Chelsea are planning to bid 20 million euros, including add-ons from Mike Maignan. Milan considers it very low. Some inside Milan consider him gone. Now, I think 20. If we're already at 20 million and it's jumped up to there, I think you're pretty close to a deal. If it's to be believed that 25 million is the valuation that AC Milan want. And I think it's just kind of that classic case of you've got a club that's willing to buy a player, the player themselves pushing to move away, the contract situation, which means that Milan have to make a profit from him if they are this summer, or risk maybe losing him in January. A compromise is usually made. We see this so often, either Chelsea buying players or Chelsea selling players. Eventually, you just find a natural compromise. And if Chelsea find a compromise and they sign Mike Maignan, all my frustrations and fears of this not getting over the line will disappear, as will all of us, because I think this would be a brilliant deal, and I hope that is what's happening. And And we know Milan, and I know people have pointed this out, like in terms of us selling players to Italian clubs like AC Milan, they've lowballed us for many years, and I think for some people it's kind of a little bit of retribution. But at the end of the day, what I care about most is not. It's not about just throwing any money at this player whatsoever. But the point I will make, and I know people may have already kind of dismissed it and are joking about it as, oh, it's only one example. But I think it is very relevant. Chelsea seem to have no issue spending 30 million on Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall 12 months ago. They had no issue spending upwards of 40 million on Joao Felix. They've had no issue spending sort of similar amounts of money on players who either have not been successful for Chelsea or, have not elevated to the same level of what like an instant impact Mike Maignan, even outsiders to Chelsea who know Serie A, believe he would be not only an instant upgrade but potentially a big player for Chelsea moving forward. And when you've got the player themselves kind of urging this deal to happen, you kind of are willing it to get over the line because you think this is a great opportunity here. And because Chelsea are not only actively looking to sign a goalkeeper, we've heard consistently now that Chelsea are looking maybe to sell goalkeepers. I think it kind of signals what's actually going on. As much as Ben Jacobs continues to report, I'm sure briefs internally from the club that they're all okay if nothing gets done. Like, I'm not sitting here and telling you that, the club's finished if we don't sign Mike Maignan. I think it would be a signal of intent, and I think that's positive. So that's what I hope is happening here. I may be naive, but just based on watching transfer stories and developments over a number of years, you see that compromise, and especially once a player starts to push internally for a move, 9 times out of 10 you see it happen is what I'd say, especially when Milan are not in the most financially strong position, and that helps Chelsea hopefully. I want to move on now to Liam Delap. Delap obviously announced he's taken the number 9 shirt. He had the opportunity to stick with the shirt number he had at Ipswich, which is obviously his number 19. I have massive respect for Liam Delap taking a number 9 shirt, because it reminds me a bit of when Tammy Abraham took that shirt back in 2019, because many people would have told him not to. And listen, the curse of the number 9 Chelsea shirt and all of that stuff. And yeah, there's been a ton of players who've taken that shirt number and not been successful. But there have also been Chelsea players in our history, very famous ones in fact, who have taken that number and been successful. I don't think the number is the problem. It's it's not that I completely deny like history and how that can impact things moving forward, but it's just it sounds a little bit too like superstition for me. Because Tammy Abraham was successful after a run of 9 players taking that shirt and it not working out. Hernan Crespo was successful taking that shirt number. Some of the biggest names in our history, famous names in our history, Peter Osgood, Gianluca Vialli, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. The idea that no one can take this shirt number and ever make it successful, one day someone's got to do it. And I think it's a sign of the confidence of the player that he backs himself. And this kind of comes out in some of the quotes. And I've got to give credit to the interview, because I think it is a really good interview as well, with the player learning about the player. He says, "It's a lifetime of graft. Since I was 8 or 9 years old, I focused on football. I never wanted to do anything else, and I've given everything I could to make it happen. It's such a long and hard period, and things can be tough for you, but I've always enjoyed it. I love football. I'd be playing with my mates if I wasn't a professional. Fortunately, I'm all right at it, and I'm delighted that graft has worked out, and I'm here now at Chelsea." There's a Barclaysman-esque link here, because, of course, Liam Delap is the son of Rory Delap, infamous player in Premier League history, of course, for Stoke City, the original Stoke City that got obviously promoted and played against Chelsea a number of times. But then he moved on to speak about watching Chelsea and what he intends to do at Chelsea. He said, "Growing up watching this club, I understand the stature of it and how incredible it has been over the years. I wanted to come here to win trophies. When I spoke to the club, everyone wanted to get back to the very top, and they have the quality and the players to do that. The hunger and desire to keep adding trophies, to take the club back to where it belongs. That is the main objective." I want to just add a bit of background here, because I know that Nazar Kinsella reported a few weeks ago about how Chelsea moved to the front of the queue, got this deal done when there was interest, mainly from Manchester United, I think concrete interest, but we obviously heard other Premier League clubs going for him as well for such a ridiculously low fee, given what he has produced in the Premier League, his debut Premier League season. And Kinsella reports that Delap had been a key target for Chelsea all season, and it's understood that Bailad Igbali met the player's key agent David Manasseh in Dubai. Iqbali even expressed his fondness for the player to Chelsea fans in Wroclaw last week before the Conference League final. And as well, we know that head coach Enzo Maresca also pitched directly to Delap. So obviously there is also that Man City link. He's already been asked about the link to Cole Palmer. And on Cole Palmer, we have found out this morning that Cole Palmer is changing his number from number 20 to number 10, which is pretty significant. Obviously, the instant thing that comes to mind, although, I know a lot of people are excited and they put out a cool video about it, what does this mean for Mykhailo Mudryk? It's still very unclear what's going on with Mykhailo Mudryk. No matter how much you try and dig and try and gauge what's going on, there seems to be complete confusion and delay. All we know at the current time is he's on kind of a ban, at least a ban until the results come out. And I think this is kind of a sign that that's going to remain the case. Cole Palmer is obviously a huge player, Chelsea's most talented player. You can make an argument he's our most defining player at the moment. Him getting a number 10 shirt from a branding point of view is obviously huge. And although he could have kept the number 20 and made it his own, there obviously isn't a law historically in football for that number 10 shirt and why people want it. So hopefully he can go on to bigger and better things. Now he's got his number 9 in Liam Delap to work with as well. So let me know in the comments. I have to say just though, every time I see this home shirt, I like it more and more. I think they've hit it out the park this year with the home shirt. I love the new font, like the Cup European font they've got as well. It's a really good shirt. And I'm not just saying that in heat at the moment. Even if we're having success and I don't like a shirt, I'm going to tell you I don't like a shirt. This is so much better than last year. And I might need to pick one up. I don't know. I haven't got a name on the back of the shirt, mainly because so many players move on now. But let me know if you're going to jump at the chance to either get Delap 9 or Cole Palmer 10 on the back of your shirt. Let me know in the comments below. The final thing is Mohammed Kudus from West Ham being linked to Chelsea. It's quite a wild one, but it's been reported by several outlets. I know TalkSport has reported it. Darko here has also reported it first, the first person I saw report it. That Kudus stuff is real. Chelsea are really getting busy in the market. Club are in love with him. West Ham will only entertain offers from 70 million plus. Apparently Chelsea are looking to kind of do their classic Clear Lake Bowley thing of trying to exchange players in a potential deal. I believe it's TalkSport who directly referenced Keane Dewsbury Hall and Robert Sanchez in that deal. I wonder if we can sweeten the deal for Graham Potter of adding Ben Roberts and sending him. If we're getting Mike Maignan, let's completely shake up the goalkeeping department and send Ben Roberts back to Graham Potter is kind of how I would do it in negotiations. We have to wait and see if the likes of Ornstein, the likes of Matt Law bring this up. But we know Chelsea, from an attacking point of view, are looking to make attacking additions. And we also know that Kudus has been kind of a long-term target for Chelsea. He was a target in the summer when we bought Cole Palmer. And I think it's weird with Kudus because he kind of, he's not exactly the traditional classic winger that Maresca uses. And I think from like a logical kind of what the positions on the pitch are going to be, you kind of understand why we'd be going for a Gittins, for instance. But Kudus has obviously been amazing for West Ham. And apparently from a West Ham perspective, they expect him to potentially move on this summer. And given the talent of the player, given the way he has really lit things up in a pretty terrible West Ham team as well, there's obviously excitement. I know my mate Nini is a big fan of Kudus. And not just because of what he's done at West Ham, actually even before we signed him. So I want to hear your thoughts on that as well, because I do think that would be another big coup, and I also think it would be another sign of like Chelsea going for ready-made players. They're not just sitting on their laurels. I think exchanging players is not the worst idea when you have players that you want to get rid of, and I think Keane Dewsbury Hall, Keane Dewsbury at West Ham to me sounds like a deal that makes a lot of sense. Even Robert Sanchez, if he wants first-team football, if we're about to get Mike Maignan. So there is a ton of stuff going on. It kind of feels unrelenting at the moment. There's still stuff going on about Ekatike. Whether Delap getting the number 9 shirt, does that put off Hugo Ekatike? I don't know. I think if the money's right for Frankfurt, and I think if the thing I would say is like I back Chelsea going in for multiple strikers this summer, and the thing I would say for any footballer, they're going to back themselves to come in and get first team football as Liam Delap has. And I think it shows not only with his words, but also with taking that number 9 shirt. The number 19 is still available for Hugo Ekitike if he was to arrive. And the amount of football Chelsea have to play, I'm a big believer now that you need a big squad. And, I don't think that competition should not put off a footballer. In some ways, it only would heighten the squad capacity, I think, for a footballer to back themselves. That's kind of how elite sportsmen work. Delap could have looked at it a few months ago and go, why would I move to Chelsea? They've got Nicholas Jackson. They're going to sign someone else. The logic could have applied for Liam Delap as well. Like, why would I go to Chelsea? They're probably going to sign someone else on top of signing me. So why would I go for them? No, like, players are going to back themselves. I don't think that's something that really comes into it, maybe from a player point of view. But I think when it comes to Chelsea strikers, me and Joe tweeted that video yesterday. Please go and check it out, where we speak about this in depth, and it is a complex issue. But at the very least, what we can say at this current point, Chelsea are doing what they said they were going to do, which is move fast, and they kind of have to move fast because of the schedule they've got, because they're about to go to the US for the Club World Cup, which is going to demand a lot of the current squad, along with a very short preseason that we know now is going to be pretty much domestic. I'm fingers crossed for some domestic friendlies that maybe we can get down to and watch. And then you're straight into the Premier League season with the Champions League that comes with it as well. So I'm happy that they're moving quickly. And I'm actually happy that the majority of players we're being linked to at the moment, there is football logic behind it. Even if I don't agree with every target, as like, I think there could be a better player, or internally maybe we can make something more of the current players we have. I'm not seeing wild ones that just don't make any sense like we did last summer. That was my biggest annoyance and frustration and criticism last summer, was looking at a window that just did not seem to be addressing what the squad actually needed and didn't actually seem to be improving our squad. Mike Maignan improves our squad. I think Liam Delap improves the options we have in our squad. You could argue similar about Ekitike in terms of options in attack. You can argue Kudus. I know obviously the argument would be like, where does he play in the Maresca system? But, even someone like Morgan Rogers, another player who maybe if you're looking at Rogers and you're looking at Kudus, maybe there is an acceptance or an understanding from Maresca that he's looking maybe to adapt a little. He would like a few more inside forward options, or someone who's going to play a more creative role to take the burden maybe off Cole Palmer a bit more. I think that's an interesting discussion to have, and we will have if these links continue, or whether Chelsea go back to very much targeting natural wingers, which is what Maresca has kind of used in his first season at Chelsea. So that is the podcast today. Later today, I will be uploading my player ratings for the 24-25 campaign. Yes, I know we're looking full speed ahead now towards next season. That's understandable, but I wanted to give you my full player rating. So that will be out on YouTube and also on the podcast feed. So please go and check and share that stuff out as well. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again very, very soon. All the best.